Is with us, head of equity at Bandhan AMC is with us. Manish, good to have you with us here. Thank you for your time. Good to get you on this morning. So, how are you looking at things? Are you in the camp that, with the environment has turned a little more adversarial, both local and global as well? Global, maybe yes, rate of change is slightly negative. Varying degrees, if it depends on who you ask. And local, of course, there is the slowdown, which is not new. It's at least 2-3 quarters old now. What's the sense?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I believe, not a very high return market, to be honest, the next few quarters. The thing is, rather than forecasting anything, the biggest thing is last 3-5 years have been solid in terms of returns. Obviously, valuations are high. And two is, as you pointed out, we're entering a phase where the world's largest economy is going to see a fairly radical regime change. We don't know what exactly will happen in terms of dollar strength, yuan weakness, trade tariffs, etc. So there is a lot of uncertainty, and the valuations are probably, on an aggregate, not reflective of that uncertainty. But having said that, I think there is value at polar opposites of the market. I think a lot of tier 2, tier 3 financials are almost at distress valuation. And I believe that in India, secured lending will still be okay because in general, we are a reasonably high inflation economy. So the asset values keep inflating. And a lot of the tier 2 private banks, PSU banks are at book or below. So I think there is a risk reward opportunity there. I think there is a risk reward in metals at this point of time. And on the other side, when you look at the quality companies, I think the internet platforms and anyone who has the potential to use stuff like AI well, those companies I think still are very interesting.
Manish, hi, morning, and great to have you with us on the show today. So the market's kind of, been dealing with a lot of news flow and a lot of moving parts. I want to focus, however, specifically on this morning's trade, just because it's so pronounced. And that's life insurance. I think the market went into the earnings season with not too many great expectations because there have been so many regulatory headwinds for the sector. Sometimes there's a tax change. Then there was a change in the surrender value norms. And then there was some chatter about when the finance minister made that statement that, there should be no mis-selling and banks have no business to be selling policies that people don't need. Despite all of that, look at the performance of some of the sector leaders like an HDFC Life. And right now, as we're speaking, stocks are running anywhere between 3-4% to 8-9% higher. What's your stance on insurance, both life and non-life?
No, you're correct. I mean, bulls are very tired on insurance because last 3-4 years, we've kept getting hit by some regulation or the other. So in terms of the theme, I think there is attractiveness in the sense that we all know that financialization is going up, that people long-term over the next 2 decades will move from physical assets to financial savings, and obviously insurance is one form of financial savings. It is a fairly urban affluent product, and to that extent, that is the segment which has done well, which we've seen in savings or consumption. So to that extent, top-down has been very good. Unfortunately, there is a question whether a lot of these products are they good for the customer. I might be a bit biased because I do feel that mutual funds are more efficient as a savings vehicle than insurance. But having said that, there is obviously need for long-term savings, which insurance is an avenue for. So we have a bit both the general insurers, life insurers, and the tech platforms around it. But yes, it's been it has needed a lot of patience.
No, absolutely. It has needed a lot of patience, and maybe it will require more patience as well as we go forward. I'm just looking at if anything else has moved into the gainers list out here. Swan Energy is coming up with a 5% gain. It's got very large volumes right now. I think Azad Engineering, we highlighted 6% gains. Zentech is up about 6%. So, saw a bit of a fall from 2,600 rupee levels back to about 2,300. I don't know if you can look at something like a Kalyan Jewelers, right? So it was a big loser yesterday, and will be interesting to see what it's doing. This morning, it's kind of dithering, nothing. 555 is unchanged in a market like today. So 125, so 23,340 is where we are at. By the way, ICICI Pru is the one name we did not mention. ICICI Pru is up about 4% as well, 4.5%. So MFSL, SBI Life, HDFC and ICICI Pru about 4% higher from the life insurance space. Many more names starting to find their feet with gains. What else, Manish, at this point in time is, thematically speaking, over the next 6-12 months, apart from sort of sectors like financials, etc., anything else looking interesting?
So overall, we feel healthcare is a good space. It's not obviously high beta, but basically, I think globally there is a need to reduce healthcare costs because governments are very leveraged. There is aging population, and India has obviously got great strength in terms of generic drugs or medical tourism or whatever. So I think it's a good theme to play for the long term. As I said, some of the domestic companies which can, the large companies which can use AI, that is a nascent theme. We should, I think, keep an eye out for that because globally, that is differentiating companies within large sectors. So I think these are a couple of secular themes we are interested in.
By the way, as an aside, Manish, somebody was talking about how maybe to insure yourself against medical bills, healthcare costs, maybe, buying medical insurance is one way, but maybe buying a bunch of hospital stocks is another way, right? And actually, if you think about it, it's not the wildest of ideas. Of course, not arguing against medical insurance, which everyone must have, but no, point taken. And you mean hospitals, right, Manish? When you say healthcare, right? Hospitals.
I think the entire value chain from contract research, generic drugs, hospitals, the entire value chain, yes.
Okay. All right. So, Manish, just to kind of, sum this up, overall on the market, just a call for this year, sideways, range bound, 4 to 5%. Just leave us with something.
Yeah. I would go with that. I think India's macro is stable enough, but growth is an issue. Valuations are not super cheap. But yeah, I think long term, I think small cap space is where we will make money, and a lot of it will depend on how we pick stocks.
Okay. All right, Manish, thanks a lot for joining in. Wishing you a good year ahead, and we look forward to chatting up with you as the year progresses. Let's focus on